But everyone there is so friendly, and it's just a really well-run organisation. Yeah, it's so good.
That's half the reason why I
being
came back. Yeah, I love it. Even just playing on different teams around the world, the Sydney Kings, besides obviously the NBA, but he's one of the best ran organisers from top to bottom. It's awesome. I love it.
Good to be home too.
It's been awesome. It's been very full on, especially with our game schedule. We've had a lot of double. I mean, back-to-back this month, but it's been awesome. I've been loving it and loving being back in the league and playing against a lot of your friends that you grew up playing against, and it's been awesome.
Yeah. Are you like fairly familiar with most of the players on the other teams?
There's probably like one or two guys that I don't know or haven't played with,
really?
Just because of junior basketball or playing on boomers programs and that's the best thing about basketball, in my opinion, the people you meet along the way, the places you go. So it's been awesome. I love it.
How long were you away for? 2 seasons overseas, wasn't it? Like here, it was one.
It was only one complete season, but it felt like a long time just because I went from the back of the NBL final straight to the NBA, and then I did that stint.
That looked like it sucked. Like you couldn't celebrate or anything.
Oh, it was rough. It was a rough plane over there because I was pretty hungover. And then
so you did celebrate a little bit.
A little bit of something. But it was just more the exhaustion and then getting over there and almost the emotional roller coaster of winning a championship, coming down from being hungover and getting back up for my first NBA experience and going off pretty much no sleep, not knowing any of the players, not knowing any of the coaching staff. I remember like I wasn't going to play the first game. They're going to sit me, and then they end up saying like you just suit up for numbers reasons, and then we get blew out. So I came into the game late, and I remember being in the game, not barely knowing anyone's names even. Like, yo, I'm open.
So there's not like an integration process where they introduce you to the guys and get you familiar.
I mean, they try to, but the NBA is such a fast-paced league in terms of even like two-way players. In the NBA, you have 15 rostered plus 3 two-ways, which are between their team and the affiliate G League team.
Yep.
And a lot of times they're coming back and forth, and they get called up, and within 6 hours they got to go play a game, not knowing any of the offensive sets, none of the defensive sets, nothing. They're thrown into the deep end,
winging it.
But the good thing about basketball these days, it's so universal. Every team in the world pretty much runs the same kind of systems, and it's kind of a read and react kind of system these days. But it's cool.
Does that make it like pretty easy to predict, like what the other team's going to do? Or?
You'd think that, but it actually makes it harder, just because if you know they're going to run a ball screen all the time, but like say like our team, we just kind of play like a structured rat ball kind of pickup ball kind of style where you don't know what we're going to do next. I don't know what I'm going to do next. So
Do you mean specifically for the Kings?
Nah, a lot of teams do this. Like a lot of teams will start with the 4-man carrying the ball, for example, and hand off, and then they just play from there, depending on the the other team's defensive setups and which kind of matchups you want to exploit better and those kind of advantages.
You're playing like point center, like the last time we saw you on Friday. Like you were carrying the ball over the half time every second possession.
Last game, for a while, our star point guard was out, Jalen. So that's why I had to play a lot of the secondary ball handling as well as the defender and the rebounder and whatever. But now Jalen's back. He's the best pick and roll player in the league, and I'm really happy to have him. It makes my job a lot easier.
Yeah, nice. A nice little alley-oop, I think, in like the second quarter.
Yeah. We should get some more of them if he passed the ball a bit more.
We'll send him a link to this pod.
So after the NBA, like, how was your time in Japan? Because we haven't caught up with you. It looked like a hectic schedule too. Didn't you play like something like 52 games or something?
Yeah. I thought the NBA was crazy. Japan's just as crazy. We played 2 leagues, so like the team as a whole played, I think, 72 games in the season.
So the same team played across 2 different leagues?
2 leagues. We play in the Japanese league, plus we play in the East Asia League. The East Asia is usually every Wednesday, and then Japanese leagues every Saturday, Sunday. But I absolutely loved it. Had no idea what I was getting myself in for. Spoke 0 Japanese, didn't know anything about the culture, and got there, and the fan base was unbelievable. They really and truly love players, the league, everything. And then the style of basketball was pretty cool, and like
it seemed to suit your game.
Suit my game, yeah. Especially the Saturday, Sunday. Every weekend's a back-to-back.
Yeah.
And the Sunday, most of the big dudes I'm going against are tired, their knees are sore. So that's my day. That's my day to go out, put on a show. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Had you been to Japan before that?
No, I went for the World Cup. That was in Japan probably 6 months before that. But even that was in Okinawa, which is an island off the coast. So that was my first time going there.
That was with the Australian team?
The Australian team, for the World Cup.
Oh, yeah, you cut up that game as well.
Actually, I played a good game against Japan.
Yes,
so when I went over there, the Japanese fans are like, "This is Shaquille O'Neal!" And I'm like, a bit slimmer.
Were you anticipating any boos or anything after that?
No. If you know the Japanese fan, they're like our home fans, they're cheering for both teams. They're just clapping the whole time, bowing, and it's like a party in there.
Yeah, they're just happy someone scored.
They're very respectful.
Very respectful.
With sport. Yeah.
Very respectful.
It's a big, like, it used to be a big Fight Nation too. They used to have like an organisation called Pride over there. And like you go to a UFC event, everyone's screaming Pride. They're like they were all silent and they're very respectful. You know, something small
It's like
happened,
tennis.
they all clapped. Such a beautiful country though.
Even two of
food,
the
good
fans from
culture.
Cheaper Jets came over to Australia to come watch me play, and one of them came to Sydney, and one of them, some lady, came to Melbourne and then to Sydney. When she came to Sydney, she's like, oh, she speaks zero English. She's got the translator around. She's like, got a gift for you, and I'm doing my only word I know, arigato, plus the bow. And then she gave me a book, and it's like a 30-page book of just photos of myself on every single page. And I'm like, I appreciate the gesture and all, but like,
Did you have to sign every page for it?
no, I got to keep it. But I'm like, I don't want it in my house as a copy book. Imagine coming to my house like, here's me for 300 photos. Like, that's going straight to my
I'm gonna
mum.
make one of those for you.
No, it's weird, man. Because some of them are just like walking down the street. Some of the photos, I'm like, how did they get that? What a bad outfit I'm wearing, though.
That's a cool
creepy.
gift, though. It's
Awesome.
a bit,
And it means a
creepy.
lot. It's creepy, but my mum loves it. My mum loves it.
Oh,
It's a
that's-
great
it'd
gift
be-
for her.
yeah, it's a
Re-gift.
perfect-
Come
yeah.
Christmas time.
True.
Yeah, it's coming up too.
Then you have to sign it. Just
yeah, one page. She's lucky.
Is mum down in Wollongong?
Mum and dad are in Wollongong. Yeah,
Yeah.
they come up to every game. They've been awesome through my basketball journey. My mum came to America when I was in college for my senior night, which is your last night. My brother and my mum came to Germany when I played in Germany. In Sydney, my parents haven't missed a single game. They're awesome. They're really supportive, and
Yeah.
it's been awesome.
I'm going through this now actually, but in those early days, it is more a commitment for the parent. Like
Oh
you,
my
you have to
gosh.
do the hard work on the court and training and all that sort of stuff. But it is a big thing having supportive parents that'll just drive you everywhere.
For sure.
And even like moving to different countries.
Yeah. Even as a youngin', I didn't really realize the sacrifice that everyone around you has to make for you to, chase your dreams. Even
100%. They plan the entire weekend around it.
I'm dreading my daughter playing basketball. She's we had to go to Canberra one weekend, then Albury the next weekend, and my parents are just going there to go to these cold places to drink coffee and watch basketball. Like,
What age did you start playing?
I grew up in a basketball family. My dad was a professional coach. My brother played
Right.
professional, so
So
I was
you had
always
no
around.
choice.
Yeah, but my parents were really good. I played every sport growing up. My main one was baseball. Played a bit of tennis, golf,
Really?
just a bit of everything. And then probably by under 14s when I really put basketball as my main,
Yep.
sport. And I wasn't even allowed to play like high level basketball until I was like 14 or so, just because my parents didn't want me to get burnt out from the sport and lose your love from it. And just seeing so
smart.
many people along the way that's for one, that have early development, people that are bigger when they're younger, then they get older and they haven't figured it out, or people that just love the game when they're young and they do it too long, and then by the time they're 25, they're over it. So
By 18, that was me. Like, by the time we finished with other 18s, I was like, I could not play basketball again.
Yeah, you burnt exactly. Yeah,
And you come back to it, obviously, and you learn to love it again. But
It's a fine balance. They do recommend, like, if you've got kids, put them in as many different as sports as possible so they don't burn out. But it creates a better athlete as well, a more well-rounded athlete.
For sure.
Yeah. If you just specialise in one sport, I mean, the chances of making it are very slim, but then, you become sort of almost like too much of a specialist. Like, you're not developing this all-round athletic ability.
You learn so many good skills from, soccer. You look on your footwork,
Yeah.
all those kind of things. Even football, you look on a little wrestling for the rebound battle. All those kind of things that really help out.
definitely kept a bit of rugby in my
Game style,
my
you look like
basketball
it.
game.
You look like it.
No, that's just Musashi.
Yeah, so at what age did you go over to the States, like, for college? So you finished high school here and straight over there? Or?
Nah, in high school I was a really late bloomer in terms of basketball. I was pretty trash, I'll be honest with you, until I had my growth spurt when I was about 16. I think I went from like 6 foot to like 6'7".
Shit.
So that really helped out.
So-
and then I had, my bad.
No, you go.
Oh yeah. So I had no attention really, and then from school finishing, I got invited to go to the AIS down in Canberra.
Right.
And during that 9-month break is probably when I had the biggest progression in my basketball skill-wise. And then from there, I went to college. I was probably 18 or 19. And then I did my 4 years over there and absolutely loved it. College is what you picture it to be. It's awesome.
Was the dream to come out of college and go straight into some sort of NBA?
The dream, of course. The
Yeah.
dream was I'm going to get drafted number 1 pick.
Yeah,
and then reality
yeah.
sets in. My journey was always to try and get to the NBA, but I knew realistically I wasn't going to be a draft pick coming out of Winthrop. I knew my journey was going to take a little bit longer. And for me, it was just trying to figure out ways to there's a lot of leagues in basketball where you can go and make a good paycheck, but you're not really getting better as a basketball player. You're just there for the money. Whereas some leagues, you're not getting paid as much, but in terms of basketball and your development, it's way better.
Yeah.
So I was really lucky. I went to Germany my first year, which is a really good league, and it's really fundamental FIBA kind of basketball style. So that was really good for my development. And then obviously came back to Sydney for a couple of years, which really helped. And the style of play in the NBL is definitely the closest to the NBA in terms of like pace of game, versatility, in terms of like our bigs in our league are all shooters. They all can kind of carry, kind of like the NBA. Whereas in like the European kind of leagues,
they're
bigs
quite
are
physical.
They're big bruisers. You have probably 2 guys that are 6'10" plus on the court, and they're not shooting anything, and they really can't get back in transition. So
is it same court size here in Europe?
Yeah, every league besides the NBA is the same court size. It's the FIBA rules.
Yeah, well, NBA have their own like
everything
version of the rules compared to basketball.
Right.
So we Australian Europe.
And what, they're playing on
FIBA.
different court
It's
sizes?
larger.
Right. Okay.
The 3-point line is further back. The court's wider and longer, and then they
Keys
have
bigger.
Yeah, they have very specific rules to do with like goaltending. So if the ball hits the ring in FIBA, you can kind of go get it as long as you don't go above the cylinder. NBA, you can't touch it.
How does like size of court impact style of play and stuff like that as well?
In the FIBA basketball court, it feels tiny at times, just because
Yeah, right.
the guy off the ball is in between my man and the guy for the ball. So I'm right there in the lane. I can almost touch my defender's hand. So in order to try and get through the paint, I've got to like fake him one way to try and shoot this gap. Whereas in the NBA, there's so much space where you don't even need to worry about the defender. And then the biggest difference is they have this thing called defensive 3, which is like you can't sit in the key for 3 seconds.
Yep.
Whereas in FIBA, we just put one guy under the hoop, and just stand there all day.
Right.
Whereas in the NBA, it's a real entertainment league, so they want you to come from the other side of the lane line. So that's why there's always these huge poster dunks and all these kind of highlights, because all the rules are designed for entertainment. The whole, even being over there, was probably my biggest like takeaway is like it's such an entertainment league. The players are all not playing necessarily to win at all times. They're playing to look swag.
Yeah, they want to
get their followers
ESPN
up.
highlights and whatnot.
That's America for you.
Yeah,
100%. I'd love to play on a court that size. Like even playing at a competitive level in Sydney, you go from court to court, and some of them are different sizes just because you're playing in different sized stadiums, which is frustrating. The larger the court, the more fun it is offensively, for sure.
You'd be covering more distance. Like it'd be harder strength, like conditioning wise, though, wouldn't it?
In
like
the NBA? Hypothetically, yeah. If you put in the same effort levels, even the little thing like the defensive, instead of just sitting there waiting in the middle, now I've got to come from this side, anticipate, and all that energy. However, they're not playing as hard. I mean, the playoffs, they play extremely hard and, big games. But for the most part, if you're playing an 82-game season, you can't play at the level, like the intensity that we play in the NBL. You can't do that in the NBA.
Plus
and sustain.
so many stoppages.
And they play 48-minute games, so players are playing. The stars are playing 40 minutes. I play 25 minutes, I'm exhausted. So to be able to play this intensity and that it's not possible.
That's something I did not know. You're pacing yourself for the season, 100%. Basically.
Especially the stars. I mean,
LeBron's
totaling thousands of minutes a year. You know what I mean? He has to look after himself and pick your moments when to be aggressive, pick your moments when you're chilling, and
Yeah, on that, I guess, like how sophisticated you've played in heaps of different countries now. How sophisticated has Australia become when it comes to strength and conditioning and recovery?
Huge. It's always been leading, in my opinion.
Okay.
Just I don't know why we put a big effort into it. In leagues I played, in my example, besides the NBA, they got all the resources in the world. But besides that, we're definitely one of the better in the world. Just little things, emphasizing it, knowing how important it is to back up for second performances and all those kind of things. So we're pretty big on it.
Like not going to the pub after a Friday night game.
I don't even know this guy. Hey, we had a week off, man. Let me live.
Probably referencing himself.
Yeah, he was blind. I'm snitching.
That's fair. He paid for it.
What is this is probably the biggest question I get asked is like, you're professional athletes. I want you to ask them, what does like a week look like? Let's say preseason when you're not playing a game. What is a standard week? And you know what? I've never actually been able to get a straight answer from a professional athlete on this. It's like, what does a standard week look like in a preseason?
Brutal. With Brian Gordon, brutal. But probably doing 6 days.
So 6 days a week?
6 days in preseason. But we only have our preseason, we're only allowed to do, I think it's 4 weeks. It's like the league mandates. You can't do anything more than that.
Why is that? Is it just They don't want to.
Clubs were just doing the most, like making us come back 2 months before the season when we're playing in another league overseas to make more money. Like the NBL is one of them great leagues. We only play for 6 months, so a lot of us go play 6 months here, and then we'll go do 3 or 4 months in Japan or somewhere after.
It means I have nothing to watch in the middle of the year.
I hear you. I hear you.
So 6 days a week. How much of that are you on court every day?
Yeah. But some days are obviously lighter than others. Like a typical day, like for example today, I get there probably 9, tape, do a little bit of shooting, and then we have weights from 9:45 to about, 45 for an hour. And then we have practice at 11, that goes for about 2 hours, and then we shoot for a little bit after, stretch, and then get out of there. Obviously eat, huge on eating after practice. We're sponsored by Clems as well. Shout out to Clems, my boy Spiro.
Nice.
They look after us. And that's huge for us, just having so many young guys that after practice, they're in a race to get home and, just sit on the couch where it's important to refuel now so you're not feeling the repercussions tomorrow.
It's always the afterthought. You talk to any athlete at any level, it's like as soon as the game's done or the training's done, they'll do everything they can to prepare for it. And then after, it's all about celebration, right?
Sure. Especially
so you forget your recovery. And it's
Yeah.
just like, actually, this is what's going to get us back on court training next week.
That's something I've always really struggled with in my career is like just maintaining weight and putting on weight, and especially like through a duration of a season where we're having back-to-back games. Back-to-backs are always tough in terms of like, I'm not a hungry dude. I don't wake up hungry. I got to force myself to eat, and then trying to figure out little habits for that, and then post-game forcing myself to eat. So like throughout the season, I often my weight dips in during the whatever, and then even playoffs, dealing with nerves and throwing up and all those kind of things you don't want to think about. But
do you still get nervous before games?
Oh my, I don't know why. I'm a nervous wreck.
Even like mid-season as well.
Man,
does it help you? Do you find, or does it hinder you, or you just sort of it's just part of it?
It's
now?
a great balance. If you can have a perfect a balance between like excitement and nerves, beautiful. But some games I'm getting throwing up and we're playing the worst team in the league.
Really?
I'm like, why? But just, I don't know. I feel the pressure. I think
you probably put pressure on yourself.
I do put way too much pressure on myself. But in saying that, one of my old coaches, Fleur, every time I throw up before the game, she's like, "Oh, Zay's come to play today. Like, have a good game."
Serious?
So, yeah.
Well, it means you care. It's a
I
good
do
thing.
care. Yeah, I do care.
Do you have someone like looking after all your nutrition, like on a food perspective, like basis? Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
We have
Is that the club, or
the club does?
yeah.
The club is a nutritionist, but still, it's a battle. It's dynamic. Every day is changing. So it's a journey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's quite often the toughest part. Like you guys, you don't want to have to think about it. So having a nutritionist or someone taking care of it for you, and
It's great, especially the different body types. Especially in our team this year, we've got this guy called Kelly who they need a drug test.
Does that have to go with the hair?
yeah.
Dude, everyone, all the guys I was with
Jack,
saw
is
him
he?
on Friday were like, "You should sponsor him." He's fucking
He's massive.
We've
We've got a couple skinny guys, a couple on the pudgier side, so it's great to have a nutritionist how to work with everybody, and even get our we have a snack table during practice and getting the right snacks for everybody, and
That's so good. So as far as you're on court 6 days a week, you're training in the gym. How many like in season? How many gym days are you doing? You'd have to be careful, wouldn't you? Like
we try to. Say like this week we had a Saturday game and then we have another Saturday game, which is kind of rare. But this week we probably do 4 weight sessions, usually
really?
upper lower, those kind of way. But in saying that,
what's the duration of a weight session?
It's usually pretty consistent, 45 to an hour.
Yep.
But it's more the first 2 sessions we're going hard. The last 2. It's before the game. It's more mobility, prehab, getting ready for practice, making sure you're ready to go. We're not getting swole the day before a game. Well, Kelly is. Not I.
And as far as like how you structure your strength and conditioning session or your strength sessions, have you got someone running those sessions for you?
Yeah, we've got a team.
And are they individualizing your program, or they sort of just get all the team together and we're working on sort of common things together?
Nah, we have so many terrible bodies right now. Everyone's like, people with knee issues obviously got different than everyone else.
Yeah.
We do our weights program. We do the younger guys go in first, and then we go in after.
Yeah.
Just to make the weight room less crowded.
Yeah.
And then even in that, we go with a buddy pretty much, and each one of your buddies is kind of guys got a similar weight to you, similar kind of strength, similar kind of body, and you work with those guys.
Who are you training with?
Brucey right now. Brucey's my guy, even though I'm substantially bigger and stronger.
And what sort of movements are you doing? Is it a mix? Like, is it mainly plyometrics? Is it sort of explosive stuff throughout?
A lot more plyometrics lately. When I grew up, it was a lot more Olympic lifting, and as we've changed throughout the years, there's a lot more plyo, a lot more band resistant stuff, and balance things that I don't necessarily love in the gym, but we're doing it. And
It's the exercise that looks the worst and is most annoying to do is
It
the
helps
most
out the
functional.
best. Especially like I've always struggled with ankle injuries, so I've got to try and strengthen my ankles and all those kind of things around it. And some of the exercises, I'm like, who designed this? But they work. They work.
Jumping on one leg in different directions.
Yeah,
and
towel grabs with your toes and all
dude,
these kind of things.
At least you're a professional athlete. I have to do the same stuff in my gym. It's a public gym.
Yeah.
The weirdest look.
I might have to go film that next time.
You get those weird looks because of what you're wearing. Put your shirt back on and no one will look at you.
You don't like the big Musashi tattoo?
And the tights you wear, they're a bit short.
No, they're cute.
What about recovery wise? Like, there's a heap of trend around your sauna and cold plunge, and do you get into all that, or you're sort of more of a old school?
Nah,
bit of stretch and we're done.
I do like the ice tub, but it's a love-hate relationship with that thing.
I think everyone is with the ice bars.
yeah.
No, that's not true. He loves it.
Really? Some people truly do love it, and I can
It's
see
still
it.
a mental battle.
It's such a mental battle.
Yeah.
And especially after you have like a break from it for a while and trying to get back into it, it's brutal.
That's tough.
So I normally try to do ice tub on back-to-back games where it's really important. I stay away from the saunas. I get too drained from those things.
Yeah, they do drain
They
you.
drain me, yeah.
And there's a long rehydration process, and
Yeah.
you got to do that right.
It was pretty cool over in America just seeing all their unbelievable resources. And in the practice facility, they've got cryo, they've got a hyperbaric chamber, they've got the massive ice tubs, the treadmills, and all those kind of things. It was pretty cool to see what the top of the top has.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
It's an absolute dream, hey?
IV drips, which is probably legal, but they don't know.
I think you can. There's a whole heap of recovery places opening up all over the place that have those. The IV drips, the saunas, the cold plunge.
It's
It's
like
like
gyms. You can't exercise.
no, it's just full recovery.
yeah.
It's interesting. I guess like the older you get in your career as well, like recovery becomes more and more
Way
of a
more
focus.
important.
Yeah.
And especially in the last probably 2 years or maybe a year for me, I've started to feel like I need to recover more, and I can't just wake up every day and go dunk it without getting ready and all that.
I don't know how you do what you do already. Like when we took you to shoot and we were just putting shots up and you went up for a dunk off one leg and got your elbow in the rib. My knee hurt watching that. Like I have to warm up for 30 minutes before I can do anything like that.
That was one of my favourite moments ever, watching Xavier dunk over the top of you. That was phenomenal without you even knowing what had happened. I still watch that.
But you seem pretty bouncy without much of a warm up.
Good genes. My dad was a good jumper. But, I mean, I always talk about this with my teammates. Like, at what age do you think you were the most bounciest? And probably, a lot of people say college days, probably 20. You're meant to be in your basketball prime around 28, 27, just in terms of your body's at your full potential. Plus, you've been around, your IQ's good, your experience, and that's like the perfect age. And usually, after they hit the 28, 29, they start to, regress a little. But
it's interesting that it's like physically you're going up and up, or almost actually the way around. Physically you're coming down, but then strategically you're coming up.
That's every professional athlete though.
Trying to find that.
And then there's that sweet spot where it sort of all comes together.
And it clicks for a while.
Yeah.
I love this sport for a while.
Basketball is almost younger. I mean, the exception is if you're like a shooter or something, like you get better year on year. But athletically, you see players like in the NBA, Russell Westbrook, for example. He hasn't been able to bounce since he was 28 probably.
I mean, and you look at someone like Ja Morant, like he has to be at his prime. If he's not at his prime athletically, I'm scared because that guy is like a crazy athlete.
100%. The thing is, he'll maintain that until he's at least 26, 27.
Oh, hopefully longer than that. Probably 28 and 29. I hope. I like Ja. Yeah.
If
he stays away from the
doesn't
guns.
Did you hear about that?
No.
He got in a lot of trouble for flashing like a weapon on IG Live. I don't think it was registered or anything.
Oh, he just flexing on the gram,
NBA player.
Hot girl summer type vibes.
he got suspended for that, and then he did it again.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Now the second time he said, "Oh, it's a prop or it's a lighter or something like that," I'm like, "Why do you have a gun-shaped lighter anyway?" Like,
and then his first game back, his celebration is he made it through any street.
I'm telling you, some of these dudes just don't give a damn.
They're the ones with too much money.
Oh,
they got that fuck you money, haven't they?
But you're making multi-million-dollar contracts, and some of them come from like the streets. Like DeRozan.
I mean, even though I was an educated person, I was 18 years old and he gave me $100 million. It's still dangerous. It's still
dangerous for any young man.
Yeah.
That changes a man.
Even that, like my experience in the NBA is like, it's tough to coach a player that's getting paid $100 million when I'm on a salary of $2 million. Like, who am I? So I've never dealt with that. Like in Australia, every time I've been on, the coach is the boss. We're all under him. We're working for a mission. In the NBA, well, from my experience, it was blurred lines. You know,
Yeah.
I've never seen so much backchat and swearing at the coaches and like,
Players have a lot more pull.
way more
So
pull.
is it just like attitude management more than anything else?
Well, even just looking at JJ Redick, he's at the Lakers now, and he said like dealing with like egos kind of thing, because it's tough to tell a guy that's making $100 million his whole career that like pass the ball or come off the bench or you're not who you think you are. So that's kind of like,
is that like LeBron and AD? Do you reckon, or do you reckon he's talking about other players?
I honestly, I don't know. I think he's talking about one of the guards.
Stitches get stitches.
Has there been like moments in your career where you sort of, I don't know, you have to love the game to do what you do, but has there been any moments in your career where you're just like, fuck it, like this feels like too much of a job and the fun's gone from it?
Some people definitely, not me. I was just thinking about it on the way over here. I love it. I love going to practice. Even we had Longers and Bogus in town today at practice. And
that would be wicked.
Oh, it's awesome. They come every now and then. I just ask for like, what's their feedback, how he went, and they're like, your joy is like infectious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I think it's important. Is like, if you do the same thing every day, it can get tiring. But if you can find joy in the little things, and I think I got older, I started to find. When I was young, I didn't love practice. I loved the games because of competing. And then once you get older, you kind of find joy in the little things and find love in the weight room, finding love in the stretching after all the little battles that are, So
you obviously become more professional as you get older. Before you just sort of...
Not this guy. Have you been listening to anything?
as I get older, I'm getting older, man. Hey, one of these days.
Still a young man. Yeah, no, it is interesting because you do hear that from some players. Like it becomes just
a chore.
Yeah, a bit of a chore, and they go in phases. You know, it's a chore, and now I love it again. And
I mean, I say that. I mean, after we went on this 3-game losing streak recently, I said I hate everything about basketball. Right,
it helps if you're winning.
Exactly.
If you're part of a successful unit,
yeah,
definitely helps. Yeah, it's it would be hard to stay motivated. So the only reason I asked, like I've got a kid that's sort of entering, my daughter's sort of just at that early phase, right? It's where she's entering into potentially maybe a professional career. And
He's not kidding.
And it's just that big step up from what they're used to at the community level to now it's like, you know, we've tripled the training program
for
and
sure.
it's a bit of a shock to the system.
That's when it can get tough. That's when
and it's
like
you really have to love the game at its core.
It comes at you quick. From going from juniors, when I was in high school, you might train, 2-3 times a week, and then you go to the AIS or you go to college or you go to the professional level where that is your life, you know what I mean? That is your, you can't schedule your weekends. Every single day is just basketball. You're going home, you're watching film. So, like, it's definitely an adjustment. Some people struggle with it. Some people embrace it. So, yeah.
Are you a fan of, like, some athletes I speak to, I'm like, are you a fan, like, do you watch footy or do you watch basketball? And they're like, nah, I'm not interested. I just play. Are you a fan of basketball as well?
Love it. Love it. Yeah, love it. I had League Pass last year watching all the NBA. I was watching the NBL when I was over in Japan.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I love basketball.
I told Ross before, you almost can't play basketball at any level without just loving the sport.
You'd be surprised. You'd be
I was going to ask you.
I'm not going to name drop.
Yeah,
I know.
no, of
Even
course.
in the NBL, I know at least 10 people that will openly say that they don't love basketball. It's
just a job for them.
It's a job for them,
just
and
voted
they
them.
make money. Even in the NBA, I know some guys on close guys in the NBA that will tell you, like, especially the NBA, like. You talked about being burnt out. The NBA is, if you don't love basketball in the NBA and you live for like the lifestyle, you're going to get burnt out. Because it is like some of the road trips, if you're in Washington, for example, you go to LA and you're going for 2 months on a basketball road trip. And that sounds fine and all, but if you're seeing the same dudes all day, every day, and it's all good if you're winning, but if you're losing, the tension starts rising and you've got to deal with these people every day, go on the plane, eat every meal. It's in like, so I know a lot of guys that are in the league that are like kind of burnt out for the league. One of my friends saying like he can't wait till he's like, he can finish with the league and come play in Sydney. I was trying to recruit all these NBA guys. They're all coming. They're all coming, baby. I hope so.
That's the sport as well, whereas boys just want people to come and play with them. Like you see, you hear rumours like, people recruiting to this team, that team, that team.
Isn't there a few NBA players that have invested in NBL teams here?
A lot. Southeast is owned by like 4 or 5 of them. Brisbane just got a new one.
Does LaMelo Ball own the Hawks?
No, there was talk about that, and there was talk about his Jermaine. I don't know what his agent or something. He was going to buy it as well, but it's Jared right now.
Right, you're right. There are definitely a few who at least have like minor stakes.
Why are they interested in this market? Do they see like it as a growth opportunity? Like, because basketball is one of the most popular sports in the country, but I think like the NBL, the Kings are doing well, the NBL does well. But yeah, it's an interesting league. Like for guys like that to go, Australia, NBL.
You're right. It is. I think it comes down to one on like a business side. I think they can make a lot of money with the way that basketball is rising, the NBL is rising in Australia, and then two. The turnover from NBL to NBA players is so high that they can have their footprint on that is really helpful. And just being even a voice to these some younger guys. Southeast Melbourne have, like I said, 3 or 4 NBA guys, and they've got a next star on their team right now. I'm sure they're all in his ear giving him wisdom and those kind of things, which helps out as well.
Who do you see as probably the best emerging talent in the NBL that has a crack in the NBA?
Oh, easy. Alex Tui.
Everyone says Alex Tui.
Oh, he's a skunk.
So is he that... Are you able to see at that age? That is a standout already.
He's starting for you guys, isn't he?
Yeah, he starts. Oh, most games. We have...
Yeah.
Next question. But
how old is he?
He's 19, and he can tell he's 19. He's a kid. He's a grown-ass kid. He's so childish.
It's good to have that energy in the team.
I love it. We need
That's
it.
him here.
Oh, you need it. You need that to make the day-to-day. The days where you don't want to come in at 8 in the morning, you need someone that's there, it's joyful and bringing the energy. But just on if you look at Alex Tui, he's probably 6'8", 6'9", maybe 110, and he moves extremely well for his size. He's got a great ball handle. He's got a great skill level. He shoots the ball well, understands the game well. It's just translating that to the NBA. The NBA, Tui is an unbelievable FIBA player. The NBA is a whole different beast. The game style, it's a lot more one-on-one, so he's got to continue to work on his isolation, all those kind of things. But at 19 years old, a lot of these guys these days are getting drafted off potential, whereas Tui has potential and he's talented and he's ready now. He's an impact player now, so he's awesome.
Does he feed off much off you guys as far as experience? Is he coming to you guys or is
he does? I don't think he listens, but he asks the questions. I don't know. No, he does.
And do you take these younger players under your wing, or you
love it? Yeah. I mean, I think
it's rewarding.
It's rewarding,
giving back,
but it's not. Everyone's got their own experiences, and everyone can learn from each other. So I'm asking them questions, they're asking me questions. That's the kind of environment we have in Sydney, and it's awesome. But Tui's been really fortunate, and he was around the Boomers program. He was at the Boomers for the Olympics, for the tryouts, and he was an absolute star. Those kind of guys, they come in there, they just fill numbers. We've already got our 15 players that are trying out. You just come and help out. Tui was not just only fitting in, he was excelling. That's why I knew Tui has unbelievable potential to be able to compete like that against the Dyson Daniels and those kind of Matisse Thybulle, one of the best defenders in the league. Be able to compete against those guys, he's special.
On the Olympics, I don't think I've ever seen so many comments on Fox Sports posts.
You know what it is
supporting you and Matisse.
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is.
What
it is. Okay. It's one of those things that I've had bad camps before for the Boomers level, and I've walked away and I thought I didn't give it my all. I didn't get to show the full Xavier.
Does it seriously come down to one camp for selection? Do they not look at this guy's the superstar?
For sure. For the most part, it has been like that. But this camp was the most competitive camp I've been a part of, and I walked away from this camp and I had my head held high. I gave it my all. I played good basketball. It just that came down to selection wise. They wanted to go with a shooting 4-man with Jack McVeigh and Nick Kay.
Depends on style of play they want to. Styles make games. I think they've got a certain game plan.
Exactly, the way they want to play. Yeah. Exactly.
It seems perverse that we're feeling for a specific spot in the way that basketball is played now, where we have players who can play 1 through 4 almost, or 2 through 5. That they were saying, we're going to have 2 guys in this position instead of having just what might be the better talent across the whole team.
Yeah, but in saying that, in my experiences, the teams that work the best are the ones that fill roles. It's not always about having. You look at Phoenix Suns, for example, they bring in Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and they expect to win first year. That's not how basketball works. In order to succeed, people have to sacrifice. You got to be one of my championship years, we had DJ Vasiljevic and Jarrell Martin, and me and Jalen Adams. And Jalen was the MVP. I was in second team, whatever. We were really talented, but we can't all be superstars. And Jarrell Martin and DJ were the 3rd and 4th options, where in my opinion they could be a first option for any other team. But in order for us to succeed, they filled their role and we thrived for it. And some teams, some players, I would say, they want to be the man. It's I always think about basketball as it's a movie, and the best movies are when everyone plays their role. We can't all be the Brad Pitts of the world, or Denzel for my example. But that's just the way of basketball. You got to play a role.
Yeah, it is interesting. And a lot of that is, timing too, right? Like it's, if a certain team's after a certain type of player at a certain, or a certain coach favours certain styles of games. So it's just being in the right spot at the right time.
Especially these kind of boomers camps is like, in basketball, it's such a mental and confidence game that if you have a good day, you could have you'd have a bad player come in there and have a great camp. And that's you know what I mean? And some of the guys will be one of the better players, but they had a bad camp. So it's like, it's tough for the coaches, and I do not envy their selection. It was extremely tough, and I have no hard feeling. It is what it is.
I do. I'll say it.
You can say it.
It was a big mistake.
Well, look at the result, huh?
We're not going to do all that, fellas.
Definitely not. But I just thought it was nice to see a big outcry of support for you guys, and I think like having recognised by the fans is sometimes more rewarding than at least you feel appreciated. You feel like, oh,
that was a cool part about it.
Yeah.
I've always tried to stay away from the comments just because the roller coaster, but that was a good.
Well,
day.
you're a nice guy. I'm an evil man.
You're not like Katie Trey on Instagram with all of his burners.
I don't know how it can be bothered. Like, I know they have a busy. I think it's hilarious.
So entertaining.
It is entertaining, but I don't know how they could be bothered to sit there and make burner accounts and defend themselves. Like, you're Kevin Durant, bro. Like, who cares what they think?
The fans are what paying for the
100%.
athlete, right? So you got to be good with your fans. And I still remember that day we did some filming with you at the basketball court, and there just happened to be a swarm of kids there.
You guys set me up. You guys called it in.
You were the one poking your head out the window when we were parking.
Oh my god! I think you made their day. Those kids. That was so random for them.
Yeah, that was funny. It's always good for us as well to see when we're with these athletes, because at the end of the day, you and our roster, you just like end up being just good blokes who want to hang out with you and chat to. And then we run it. You go into public like that, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. That's who these guys are. Fucking athletes that everyone wants to be like.
It's funny to watch. It could get frustrating at times, I guess, if you're like sitting down trying to have a meal with your daughter or your family or whoever it is, and you're getting swarmed.
It can be, but
not too bad in Australia.
It's not too bad, and everyone's respectful. And I think a lot of us players have been on the other side of it. We came up basketball fans. We were the kids asking for photos.
True,
so it's awesome to be able to make someone's day and put a smile on a kid's face. But it is tough after an embarrassing loss. I just want to go sit in my car and avoid the world. And then you go in public and
you're glad you beat the Phoenix then.
Oh man, I'm happy we beat the Phoenix. Goodness gracious.
Good game to watch. If you weren't playing basketball, you reckon what sport do you reckon you'd be into? You said you played baseball.
I did play baseball. I reckon AFL, just in terms of like skill set wise and being a kind of coordinator. I can't kick.
You'd be a ruckman.
I can't kick. I can't. My foot coordination. Ruckman can't kick. Is you trying to say?
I played ruckman for 3 years. I can't kick for shit either. All you do is go get it and palm it off.
Well, there's hope, fellas. But yeah, probably AFL. Yeah.
Do you still follow any other sports other than basketball?
Yeah, I follow the league a fair bit.
Who's your team?
Oh, you follow rugby league?
Rugby league. Yeah. I grew up in Wollongong as a Dragons fan, but they've been pretty painful the last couple of years.
Yeah.
One of my best friends was a Panthers fan, so I kind of jumped on that bandwagon.
Oh, of course.
Of course. I just like the way they play and the boys they got over there.
I'm a Tigers fan, so I'm right down there with you.
Oh, yeah.
The Panthers are they're another professional outfit.
That's what I really
they're
like
the
about
kings of the rugby league world.
And it just seems that way too. The way they play just seems so structured and organised, and they still have their characters, but they're very professional in the way they go about it. And
really good youth development programs over there. Huge. They invest majorly at a very young age, and it pays off.
I heard they have a really big culture program over there too, and it's crazy the carryover from teams that have great culture that want to hang out, and even following them. Some of them boys on Instagram, they're going to each other's weddings and those kind of things. They really have those bonds, and those kind of teams always succeed. You know what I mean? That's what I try to tell my boys now. Spend as much time as you can away from the court. Go bowling, go out for dinner, whatever you can, just to build these bonds. Because if I don't hang out with some guy and I don't really like him, and in the game he's telling me to get back on defense, you might take it personal. But if it's one of your friends and I'm telling you to get back, it's I'm coming from a good place. I want you to win so we can all win together.
You sure you're not trying to get a few wedding invites?
Fellas, hit me up.
Is there any crossover between, say, the Kings and any other teams from other codes? Do you do anything with, I don't know, the Roosters or with Sydney FC?
Yeah, in previous years we have. We had a little bit to do with the Rabbitohs back when they had Adam Reynolds and that, and then we've done something with the Panthers a little bit. The Swans, our practice facilities, one of our practice facilities is partnered with the Swans, so we have a lot to do with them boys.
At EQ?
Hoops Capital East, what we call
Yes.
it, but I don't know. Moore Park, over there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful. I mean, have you seen the Swans practice facility, by the way?
No.
Unbelievable.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Is that the gym at SCG?
Yeah.
Yeah, I go there every now and again. It's
Oh
gorgeous,
my
dude.
gosh! Like they got that. The weight room's like a 80 meter. They got the bike with the. Everything about that place is unbelievable. It's top tier. Yeah.
The pool outside as well is fantastic.
Yeah.
So our Kings are building a new facility, so I told them model it exactly like that.
Oh, really?
They've got a golf simulator in their place. They've got all kinds of
Golf
stuff.
simulator?
Golf simulator.
That's where you wind down.
Pretty huge crossover between. I'm not sure if it's crossover, but a lot of basketball athletes like playing golf.
Oh, we love it. I love it.
Do you play?
I suck, but I love it. I'm there
Doesn't
purely for the
everyone
vibes.
suck?
Oh yeah.
It's probably the most frustrating game on the planet, but
Oh.
also it's so addictive.
It's
There's
so
something
addictive.
about it.
That one good hit keeps you
Yeah.
coming back every time. Despite the 18 lost balls and the.
That's what separates the pros from the recreation, right? There's every shot's on.
Oh,
The
man.
phrase "that one good hit keeps you coming back" sounds so junky.
Oh, no. Between that and the pokies.
On that, every guy on my basketball team loves the pokies. Is that a
really?
correlation? Yeah,
I
100%.
don't know what it is either. They definitely do. I had one of my past teammates hit me up today who's playing like online pokies. I'm like, bro, where do we draw the line, bro?
that's desperate.
What are we doing, my man? But he made $3,000, so hey.
There you go.
Oh,
we had
shout out.
we had a meeting with the Kings a while ago, and it was the first time I'd sat in because we were asking for content, whatever. And I name dropped one of my mates who works at the Kings, and
Give him a shout out.
Alex Walker, good man. But I was talking to who was it, Amanda at the
Yeah, Amanda. Yeah.
at the Kings there, and just saying, oh, do you know this guy? He's the biggest gambling addict I've seen in my life. Will gamble on anything. Like, loves the NBA, loves the pokies. And she was like, I thought he was such a sweet young man. Like, no, you have no clue.
The pokies, I understand gambling on sport, but the pokies, I just don't get that. But,
Yeah.
I think it's just a zone out thing for most
is.
people. It's just, everyone leave me alone. I'm just going
Yeah.
to tap some buttons.
100%.
It's been interesting in the last couple of years to like the transition, like gambling in Australia, and especially in basketball recently. It's really gone up, and it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like even our team, like the protocols behind it, we have to hand down our phones now an hour before games, so we can't
Right.
tip off the bettors about who's injured.
Oh,
and those kind
really?
of thing. We don't get it back to after. And then even seeing with some of the boys dealing with harassment from people saying like, "You lost my parlay," like blah 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 blah.
Oh, yeah.
Like we give a damn about your damn parlay. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
I'm trying to fight for my job out
Yeah.
here. Come on, man.
I've definitely seen Katie tweet about that.
Oh yeah, But
There's a
it's
lot
just-
of leagues that are doing that. The UFC's just done
the
that
last couple of
recently
years
as
has
well.
really gone through the roof
Yeah.
and just like mad betters, I guess you would say. And I see the positive, and like some of my friends didn't necessarily love basketball growing up, but they got into betting, and that's how people's overs. That's how they kind of like learn to love the game, and I understand that. But there's a thin line between that and then being salty and harassing us, and just seeing that
I know.
transition's been pretty crazy in the last couple of years.
I know. They do pour, like these betting agencies, though, they do pour a whole heap of money back into the game, but they must be making a fortune.
Oh my God.
Those
Yeah.
Or even
companies
Melbourne
are
Cup the other
gigantic.
day.
Oh, I know.
yeah, true.
What a frustrating race, by the way, man. Bet on that horse.
That's a lottery, the Melbourne Cup.
Oh,
you might as well
man.
just pick it out of a
I
hat.
know.
I just picked the best name.
The names, yeah.
That's the best part.
hope, yeah.
That's how you find most of your girlfriends too, don't you?
100%. What's your name?
Brett.
Brett from NZ.
Oh my god.
One of the girls in the.
Or do you
NZ
pick him out of a
Musashi
hat?
team. Huh?
Or do you pick him out of a hat? Which
No,
one?
I just close my eyes, spin around, and wherever I'm pointing at.
That'll do. That's me. Cut that, man. Cut that.
No, mate,
That's the clip. Oh my god. When's your next game?
Saturday?
This
We
Saturday.
have Saturday. We have Wollongong
Yep.
on the Highway Series. They
Down at
call it or something
Wollongong.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes it easy for
I
the
love it.
parents
Oh,
to
I love it.
come watch
Exactly.
too.
Yeah. And I'll stay down there. But
Yeah.
something about this series is always tough. Even in past years when we're at the top of the ladder, they're very bottom. It's always a great battle. And then right now they're ahead of us. They're playing good basketball. They've been struggling the last 3 or 4 games, but they're a great team. And this is our last game going into FIBA break. We have like a 2-week window, so it's important for us to go into that break with a win.
Yeah.
And same for them. So it's going to be a good game.
It is a very competitive season.
Oh, it's very competitive.
It is good. Like when the Kings do well, the NBL does well, but it is becoming more and more competitive. I feel like basketball in Australia is almost sort of back to those glory days. Probably when you were growing up. When I was like growing up,
funnest to watch it has been in a while.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I grew up with the Gays and the Heel and all those guys. It was phenomenal back then. But it's at that point, or if not eclipsed that now. I think it's interesting to see.
There's a lot of talent in the league these days.
Yeah.
And it stems from grassroots. There's so much young talent coming through Australia that, like, even these days, it's a 10-team league, so there's only, 80 Australian jobs minus the import, so it's 80 jobs, and there's a lot of great players missing out each year, and you realise, I'm like, how does he not have a job? Like, it's crazy. That's why the level's really picking up. We're bringing in these high-level imports, like, even the fact that Adelaide was able to bring in Montrezl Harrell this year, who's an NBA Six-Man of the Year, 2 or 3 years ago? But that just speaks volumes of the league, that where we're going right now, and how highly everyone speaks of the league in Australia. And
It's the most highly participated sport in Australia, basketball. We look at the stats all the time. Just got the Ausplay stats in, and it's on fire.
Best game in the world.
Yeah,
Can't argue with that.
I like the way you're talking over there.
Yeah, can I have a word to Deeren after this?
What's post career? Not that you're anywhere near this, but what's post career? Do you even think about that?
Yeah,
or is it best to keep it out of your mind? Like, I don't know.
Oh, to be honest with you, when I got waived or fired from the NBA, I had a midlife crisis, and I was like,
so it hit you hard? Like,
that's probably my first time I've ever been fired from it. And you always, in basketball, it's a business. You don't really try and take emotions out of that side of it, and it's all a business. But I've never really been a part of that. And it was like, I had seen it coming when they bring in a new GM in the direction we're trying to go for a rebuild and bring in young talent. So I already knew I was on the way out. But it's still tough to be the feeling of it's tough because it's your dream and you work really hard to get there and you achieved it, but it just sucks that wasn't quite at the level to make it work, or whatever the reasons is. So that was tough. And then from there, I had some downtime, and I'm thinking about, like, if this all does fail or something happens, injuries, like, what is next? And I've had people in my corner helping with that, and the answer is still, I don't know. So we're trying to figure it out, but you kind of make investments in these kind of things and meet the right people and kind of see what you enjoy and go from there, I guess.
Yeah.
But hopefully I got some time, I hope.
You've got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Would you have a coach?
I would. I could see myself being a coach. I love the game. I have a really high basketball IQ. My dad was
Confident
a coach.
too.
And, unbelievable basketball mind. Mine's on the court, baby. But my dad was a coach, and just seeing what it's like...
be more stressful than playing.
Way more stress and way
yeah.
more hours. Like after we're going from practice, we're going home. I'm relaxing, looking after my body. Where the coaches are doing film there, and they're doing prep for tomorrow and all those kind of things, and for a lot less salary. And I just don't know if it's
more mental,
and it's tough to. You're coaching, you're still competitive, and you have not much control over the game. You're sitting on the sideline, bottling it up, and I don't think I.
You see, they get emotional.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I could see you on the front of like a yacht or
me too.
for the rest of your life.
Manifested.
Like Conor McGregor or something in Spain, somewhere on the yacht.
Hair flowing, beers going, vibes. But yeah.
You do a bit of both. I'd love to do a bit of coaching. I reckon if
you could be the boat boy, actually, Hal.
Was that? What the fuck's a boat boy?
You know, when the scrubs down the
barnacles.
Yeah. Can't look like it.
I will not be submitting a resume.
Right, noted. Not boat boy.
Hal off the list. Alex Walker off the list.
Oh my God.
But even like coaching, like there's a different, like professional coaching is a lot more chess. It's a lot more strategic and coverages and how I'm going to like negate what you're going to do. Whereas in like junior coaching, it's a lot more skill development and kind of fun and all those kind of things. So it's like, I don't think I love kids and I have a lot of energy for kids and I enjoy it, but I think I'd get frustrated with and miss the X and O's part of basketball in juniors. Whereas in professional basketball, I could probably get around it.
Yeah, coaching's a tough gig. It's more the player management too. I mean, all the guys at your level, when you've got some senior players in the team, they almost become the leaders, and you know, it's that the team cohesiveness that the coaches really need to focus on and make sure everyone's humming together.
Yeah,
but coaching's a tough gig.
I couldn't deal with that shit. I couldn't coach kids.
Oh, it's frustrating. Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
But it's like you got to go back to
layout lines.
Day one for them, don't you? And you just go, oh my God. I remember these days.
I wouldn't have the patience for that.
It's
whatsoever.
tough.
And you can't run structured play with like little kids. It's just a
heck no.
free for all.
Yeah.
Even the drills you're doing, it's just fun, you know, like play tip while dribbling the ball or something like that to keep them joyful.
It's a good reminder though when you are working with kids and you just see them having fun and joy. It's just this is why.
That's why I got into basketball. Exactly.
It's a good reminder. Well, man, this has been awesome. I appreciate you coming in today, and like we wish you the best. That we follow you very closely. We love the Kings, love you. We wish you the best for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we'll be
I appreciate you guys.
We'll be at every game we can be.
I hope so. You want to sing this shit like you done last time? I got you, my guy. But thank you guys for having me. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. So thank you guys.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Cheers.